The rain fell on Xylo's Prime with persistence that bordered on obsession. Captain Maya Rodriguez felt every drop through her combat boots as her squad established a perimeter around their landing zone. The air hung thick and heavy, carrying the scent of damp earth and something vaguely like cinnamon that set her teeth on edge. Her helmet's filters worked overtime, yet that sweet, dangerous aroma lingered like a ghost. Around her, the 42 soldiers of Echo Company moved with practiced efficiency. Their spacing was precise, their rifles sweeping the alien jungle that surrounded them. Trees with bark resembling cracked obsidian reached toward a sky the color of old pewter. The canopy above was a mosaic of deep purples and emeralds, with veins of phosphorescent yellow tracing patterns across broad leaves that dripped constantly. Echo Team, report. Rodriguez's voice cut through the humidity like a blade. Ground is solid. Captain. Sergeant Torres replied, his voice steady despite the tension in the air. Local sensors show no immediate threats. Just a lot of alien vegetation. Copy that. Keep your eyes peeled. We hold position until the main force arrives. She turned slowly, taking in the walls of vegetation that seemed to press in on them. A low hum filled the air, the collective sound of countless alien insects. Private Jensen, a young soldier barely 20 years old, shifted nervously. This goes against everything in the manual, Captain. Doctrine says we establish a secure landing zone before deploying ground troops. The commander has his reasons, Jensen, Rodriguez said, her tone leaving no room for argument. Our job is to follow orders and ensure we all come home. Watch your sector. Her tactical tablet pinged with a priority message. A direct link from the Endeavor in orbit. A single text string from Commander Marcus Thorne. Set up defenses but make them look amateurish. Rodriguez frowned. She read the message again. Amateurish. She looked at her platoon. Each soldier stood with a discipline that came from years of training. Their readiness was almost tangible. Asking them to appear incompetent was like asking a master painter to use a spray can. She keyed her comm. All right, Echo Company. You heard the commander. We're establishing a defensive perimeter. Torres, take the north position. I want trenches, but keep them shallow. Firing steps uneven. Barricade with gaps in the logs and precarious overhangs. Jensen, you're on fortifications. Use whatever debris you can find, but create blind spots in our fields of fire. Make it look like we panicked and threw up whatever we could find. Static hissed on the comm channel for a moment before Torres replied. You want us to look like amateurs, Captain? We'll give you the most pathetic defenses you've ever seen. Echo Company, you heard the captain. Let's get to work looking like we don't know what we're doing. As her soldiers worked, their muscle memory fought against the orders. They placed logs with ingrained precision, then deliberately skewed them, creating a mockery of a defensive wall. Rodriguez's jaw tightened. She trusted the commander completely. Still, she wished she understood the strategy behind his orders. And we have touchdown. The final competitors in this cycle's Galactic Concordance Martial Trial have officially arrived on Xylo's Prime. Zara's translated voice was a series of melodic chimes. On screens across the galaxy, her avatar, a translucent crystalline structure representing her energy-based life form, pulsed with controlled light patterns. The newcomers, the humans, her co-commentator, Forlag, was a presence of absolute stillness. His physical form, a massive fungal colony the color of amber, sat immobile in their orbital broadcast booth. The air around him shimmered as he released modulated spores that a dedicated AI translated into a flat, academic monotone. They called themselves the Terran Defense Initiative. The words appeared as text beneath a silent form. A small contingent, exactly 10,000 combatants as per the Accords. Their vessel, the Endeavor, has taken its prescribed orbital position. By galactic standards, its energy signature marks it as a cruiser with minimal auxiliary craft. Simplicity appears to be their approach, Zara chimed. The light patterns within her form quickened. Look at their equipment. Solid projectile weapons as primary arms. Armor that appears to be constructed from basic alloys. It's almost primitive. The main broadcast screen split. On one side, a high-definition feed showed a Corthan warlord, 3 meters of bone and muscle encased in a layered exoskeleton that grew with each battle, marking his age and combat history. He roared as his shock troops slammed onto planes of Xylos Prime in a cloud of dust, their weapons already firing into the sky. On the other, the Nixian veil materialized from thin air, their stealth transport appearing for a fraction of a second before disgorging predators that move with an unnerving fluid grace into the shadows of the Stone Mountain ranges. There you see the competitors' viewers. Zara's avatar zoomed in on the Korthan warlord, Gorgon of the Korthan Dominion, a veteran of dozens of conquest campaigns. His strategy is as direct as a meteor strike and twice as effective. Overwhelming force is the only language the Korthan understand. The view switched to the Nixians, and the Nixian veil's enigmatic weaver, Sela. Her forces are ghosts, whispers in the dark. They will dismantle their opponents piece by piece before they realize they are in a fight. The screen returned to the human landing zone in the jungle. The view provided by a hovering Concordance observation drone showed soldiers digging shallow trenches and piling up logs in a haphazard manner. Zara giggled, a sound like tinkling bells. And there are the humans. It appears their primary strategy is building a fort. Oh, this is amusing. Look at that. The walls have gaps facing the wrong direction. An interesting tactical choice. Forlag's text appeared. Their fortifications defy standard military doctrine. It is wasteful of effort and material for the minimal protection offered. It's comical, Zara corrected. They're going to be a morning snack for a real contender. Perhaps, Forlag noted, a new line of text scrolling at a deliberate pace. My analysis of their transponder signal is, however, incomplete. Per the broadcast rules, all frontline maneuver elements must maintain a public transponder signal. Yet the humans certified for 10,000 are broadcasting only 8,000. Zara waved a shimmering tendril dismissively. Probably a malfunction. Or maybe 2,000 of them got lost on the way down. Honestly, Forlag, you overanalyze things. This is going to be a glorious battle between two worthy species. The humans are just the appetizer. Forlag ceases analysis, but the air around his fungal form pulsed with a complex sent the broadcast AI tagged as uncertainty. A log rolled from their makeshift wall and crushed a stack of supply crates on Warlord Gorgon's command throne's main screen. The human soldiers scrambled in the mud below, their efforts pathetic. Gorgon laughed a series of deep guttural booms that rattled his mobile command center's deck plates. Look at them, he roared to his second Korth. They play in the dirt like insects. They build mud huts while warriors prepare for battle. Korth, a Korthan only slightly less massive than his warlord, grunted in agreement. They are an insult to the trial, warlord. A trivial obstacle, less than an obstacle, Gorgon. Corrected. They are a distraction. The Nixians are the real threat. They will try to outmaneuver us, hiding and waiting like the slithering assassins they are. He slammed a fist onto the console, and a tactical map of Xylos Prime sprang to life. A thick red arrow stabbed from their landing zone, directly through the jungle, aimed at the central plains where the objective, the derelict communications array, stood waiting. Our plan is simple, because it is direct. We will advance. We will smash aside these human insects. If they are foolish enough to stand in our way, we will meet the Nixians on the open plain where their stealth offers them no advantage, and we will grind them beneath our heel. We will take the array and show the galaxy the meaning of true power. He gestured at the screen showing the human fortifications. Send a probe, a single vanguard unit. Let them see what Korthan might looks like. Let them taste fear, then ignore them. Our target is the array. Korth slammed a closed fist over his primary heart in salute. As you command, warlord. Our advance will sweep past their pathetic position. Gorgon leaned back, a low growl of satisfaction rumbling in his chest. The humans were an irrelevance. This entire campaign was about one thing, breaking the Nixian reputation for subtlety on the anvil of his overwhelming force. Weaver Sela observed from her command web woven into the canopy of an immense Xylos Prime tree. She monitored a dozen different data streams. Her long, undulating body, scaled in an intricate pattern of bark and lichen, remained still. Her perception came from 1,000 sensitive filaments fanning out from her body, tasting air currents and feeling vibrations in the soil. Her structural camouflage dissolved her silhouette. One stream showed the Corthans loud, clumsy, a torrent of rock and fury crashing through the jungle, announcing their presence to the entire continent. They were fools, predictable and artless. Another stream showed the humans. Their landing zone was a mess of amateurish defenses. Worse than fools, they were incompetent. They invite their own destruction. She hissed, the sound a soft, sibilant whisper. Her second, a hunter named Nyx, materialized in the shadows beside her, her own scales patterned for the jungle floor. Both of them Weaver? Nyx asked. Both? Scylla confirmed. The Corthans believe power is volume. The humans, their strategy is opaque. It is inconsequential. They will exhaust each other. A minor alert chimed a soft musical note in the command web. Report. Scylla whispered. Deep range scout Weaver. Nyx relayed. We continue to detect faint, unstable energy signatures near the river sector Gamma 7. Unstable power fluctuations consistent with rudimentary generator technology. Scylla glanced at the tactical map. Sector Gamma 7 was miles from any logical approach to the array. It was strategically irrelevant swampland, a malfunction in the newcomers' equipment. She concluded, they are likely as inept with their machines as they are with their tactics. Ignore it. She turned her attention back to the main players. Our strategy holds. The Corthans will blunder toward the objective, and the humans will blunder into their path. We will let the rock break the twig. Our hunter packs will shadow both forces. We will observe their command structures, their supply lines, their weaknesses, and when they have bloodied and broken each other, we will strike from the shadows and claim the prize. She considered the human command element. A strike against a foe's leadership was always a wise opening. Send a single shade. She commanded, have it probe the human command post. We will see how these upstarts react to a true predator in their midst. Nyx bowed her upper body. As you command, Weaver, she vanished back into the jungle, leaving Scylla to her silent observation. The hunt had begun. Her prey continued their clumsy work, oblivious. Commander Marcus Thorne sipped his coffee. It was a dark, rich Ethiopian blend, a terrestrial indulgence he had insisted on bringing. In the quiet of his ready room aboard the Endeavor, the chaos on the planet below felt a universe away. A holographic plot shimmered over a coolant tank dominating half the room. It showed Xylo's prime topography in stark relief with crimson icons for the Corthans, swirling gray motes for the Nyxians, and steady blue markers for his own Terran defense initiative. The room's other half displayed an animated map of a battle that had taken place over 3 millennia ago on a planet none of these galactic powers had ever heard of, the Battle of Gaugamela. A Persian king named Darius luring an overconfident Alexander into a prepared trap. Thorne watched the two maps, the ancient and the immediate, and saw the same patterns. The arrogance, the assumptions, the fundamental timeless flaws in the thinking of those who equated strength with victory. His executive officer, Captain Maya Rodriguez, appeared on his private comm, her brow furrowed, her mouth a thin line. She was broadcasting from the hastily constructed and deliberately flawed command post on the surface. Commander, she began without preamble, we have multiple contacts. A Corthan vanguard unit is approaching from the east, brute forcing their way through the jungle, and my perimeter scouts have tagged a single Nyxian stealth unit moving on our position from the west, fast and quiet. Right on schedule, Thorne said, his voice even. He took another sip of coffee. How are our amateurish fortifications holding up? They're as convincing as you could hope for, sir, Rodriguez replied, a slight edge to her voice. The men are practically getting splinters just looking at them, but the Nyxian, it's moving directly for us, for this command post. I know, Thorne said. He gestured to his console, and a schematic appeared on Rodriguez's screen. I am sending you the final piece of bait. Rodriguez studied the schematic. It depicted a massive complex piece of technology labeled Guardian-class area denial weapon, a work of fiction. A complex feat of engineering nonsense from the TDI's Psychological Operations Division. The specifications claimed it could project an impossible energy shield over 100 square kilometer area from a single choke point. Sir, leave that tactical tablet on the main console in your command post. Thorne instructed. Corrupt the file just enough to make it look like a hasty data wipe failed. And make sure the location mentioned for its deployment, the northern pass in the Spine Mountains, is clearly legible. Rodriguez remained silent for a moment, processing. You want him to find this? I'm counting on it, Thorne said. Now, evacuate the post. Have your team fall back 10 clicks to Rendezvous Point Delta and stage a panic retreat. Leave some equipment behind. Ensure it looks like you fled in terror from a single scout. Rodriguez's focus sharpened. Sir, my people will be safe. Captain, Thorne interrupted. His tone softened. This is about our opponent's imagination. We're giving it a script to follow. He paused, then brought up a different sector on the main map, the swampland near the river. One more thing, Maya, that engineering team you staged in Sector Gamma 7, have them start surveying the river in earnest. Tell them to be noisy about it. I want power fluctuations. Gamma 7? Sir, that's far from the fight. I know, Thorne said, the corner of his mouth twitching upwards. Alexander had a general named Parmenion. Parmenion's 2,000 men remained hidden until the trap was sprung. Execute, Captain. Yes, sir. Rodriguez's image vanished. Thorne turned back to his maps. The pieces were moving. The Corthan hammer, the Nixian scalpel. Both were about to converge on a fiction, a ghost story he had written just for them. He took a final satisfying sip of his coffee. He had set the board. They are running. Zara's melodic laughter filled the broadcast. They are running away from one Nixian. On the main screen, the observer drone's feed was stark. The human command post, a shoddy-looking mud and log bunker, was empty. Discarded equipment littered the ground. And at the clearing's edge, a single Nixian shade, a flicker of gray and green, slipped inside the abandoned structure. The tactical map showed the human command element's icons in a full, disorganized retreat. This is extraordinary. Forlag's monotone text scrolled. To abandon a command position under pressure from a single reconnaissance unit is a sign of structural collapse. It's a sign that they're cowards, Zara declared. Oh, the Nixian is inside. What will it find? Spilled protein rations, poorly written poetry. The drone's internal sensors detected the Nixian accessing the main console. A moment later, the shade reemerged, flowing back into jungle as silently as it had arrived. Well, that was anticlimactic, Zara sighed. I was hoping for a little more fight from the upstarts. Wait, Forlag's text flashed. The shade retrieved the tactical tablet. The Nixian forces are redeploying. All of them. In unison. The tactical map shifted, showing the dispersed gray icons coalescing into a single arrow aimed at the northern pass. A new warning symbol flashed over the location. What is that? Zara asked, based on their unified rapid redeployment toward a single location away from the primary objective. Forlag's text continued. The AI assesses they have acquired actionable intelligence on a high-value asset in that pass, an asset that could seal off the entire central plane, including the array. Zara's crystalline form went still for a moment. A trump card, a single-eye win button. How crude, how human. It would explain their strategy, which defied convention or was simply incompetent. They were stalling, intending to deploy this device and secure victory without engagement. They retreated to prevent discovery of their plan after they detected the shade. So, they have one trick, and the Nixian just stole the instruction manual, Zara concluded, her excitement returning in a flicker of light pulses. Oh, this changes everything. The northern pass is now the most important piece of real estate on the planet. The game is afoot. Across the galaxy, betting odds on a human victory flatlined. The consensus formed. The upstarts had blundered, revealing their only strategy and ending their trial before it began. The data flowed into Weaver Seela's command web, a single stream of intelligence delivered by her shade. She analyzed the corrupted human guardian weapon schematics. It was crude, brutish, a sledgehammer device, but effective. They planned to hide in a box. She hissed to Nyx, a sound that vibrated with contempt, to cower behind a wall of energy, rather than face true combat. A coward's weapon, Nyx agreed, but a powerful one, Seela continued. A weapon that would give us control over the entire trial. The humans have fumbled. They have dropped their prize at our feet. Her mind processed the possibilities, and a path forward emerged. The Corthans were still lumbering through the jungle, focused on the array. They remained oblivious to this new development. The humans scattered and ran. The objective has changed, Scylla declared. The weapon is now the sole objective. Redirect the hunter packs. All of them. They will converge on the northern pass. We will move in silence, secure the perimeter, and take this guardian for ourselves. The Corthans will arrive to find the board already won. Nyx bowed. And the humans? Let them run. Scylla whispered, a thread of predatory amusement in her voice. Their part in this story is over. Warlord Gorgon slammed his fist on the arm of his throne. What is this? He roared. The tactical map showed a new development. The Nyxians' main body, previously a dispersed gray mist on the map, was coalescing. They were moving with speed and purpose away from their array toward the Spine Mountain range. The scout reports confirm, Warlord, Korth reported, his voice tight. The Nyxians are abandoning their stealth positions and converging on the northern pass. Why? Gorgon bellowed. The array is on the plains. Those mountains hold rock and shadow. His command center's AI chimed in, its synthesized voice flat. Tactical analysis complete. The Nyxians' maneuver has strategic logic only if it targets a high-value asset located in or near the northern pass. An asset capable of controlling the central plains would fit this profile. Probability high. Gorgon stared at the map. The pass was a natural choke point. A weapon deployed there could lock down the entire objective. The humans' strange behavior. Their retreat. The pieces connected in his mind. It was a feint. He growled. The humans were a diversion. The Nyxians saw through it. They are moving to seize the real prize before we are even in position. He rose from his throne, his exoskeleton plate scraping against the metal. His contempt for the humans vanished, replaced by a surge of white-hot rage directed at the Nyxians. They thought they could outsmart him and steal his victory. I will seize it from them. He roared. All units, full speed. Change course for the northern pass. We will meet the Slitherers there and take this weapon from their twitching claws. We will smash them in the mountains and grind them into the dust. The Corthan war machine, a creature of immense inertia, altered its course. The thundering advance aimed at the plane's heart now pivoted. A battering ram aimed directly at the narrow winding canyon that led to the northern pass. Gorgon saw the path forward. It was the only logical move. The canyon air was cold and still. Captain Maya Rodriguez lay flat on a rocky ledge, her rifle scope trained on the canyon floor 500 meters below. Her company, reinforced by 2 battalions from the main force, had dug into the cliffs flanking the pass. From the canyon floor, they remained hidden. For 2 days they had waited in silent, motionless positions. They were the anvil. Status. She whispered into her comm, all teams in position. Captain. Came the reply from Torres, positioned on the opposite cliff. We've set the seismic charges. Heavy plasma emplacements are cloaked and ready. The board is clear. Rodriguez adjusted her scope, scanning the canyon's mouth. Rock and stunted. Hardy trees that grew in the high altitudes were all that met her gaze. A coiled tension settled in her muscles, the familiar weight of anticipation before a battle. But this felt different. This was an execution. Her private comm chimed. Commander Thorne's voice was calm, a steady anchor in the silence. They're coming, Maya. A Corthan outrider is 2 minutes from the canyon mouth. It will be ahead of their main sensor. We see it, sir. Rodriguez confirmed. Sniper teams are on standby. Neutralize it before it can send a signal. Thorne ordered. Contingency Alpha. We remain concealed until the trap is full. Understood. Rodriguez switch channels. Ghost team, you have the target. 1 shot. Make it count. Through her scope, a single Corthan on a heavy crawler appeared, moving fast. Its squat form a blot on the landscape. It slowed as it approached the canyon, its rider swiveling there. Head. A glint of sunlight off a plasma cannon's focusing lens caught its attention. The outrider raised its arm to activate its comm unit. The rail gun's crack violated the silence. The sound was a sharp whip-like snap that echoed off the canyon walls, a sound of immense velocity. The Corthan outrider and its crawler disintegrated, transformed into a cloud of superheated metal and vaporized silicon. The sound faded. The silence that followed felt heavier than before. Contingency Alpha executed. Rodriguez reported to Thorne. The board is clear. The hammer's about to fall. Captain, Thorne replied. Stand ready. Minutes felt like hours. Then a low, growling rumble reached her. The ground beneath her trembled. The Corthan army's vanguard appeared at the canyon mouth. A wave of armored bodies and heavy vehicles poured into the narrow pass with reckless, arrogant speed. They packed themselves in bumper to bumper, shoulder to shoulder. A solid mass of military might flowing into the choke point. Rodriguez froze, waiting for the signal. The canyon was filling up. Her helmet's telemetry feed showed the Corthan columns rear miles long, still pushing forward. Then the rumble changed. A new sound joined it, a series of deep rhythmic thumps from miles away. What is that? Jensen asked on the comm that. Rodriguez said, a humorous smile touching her lips, is the hammer. Thorne's hidden artillery batteries, positioned 20 kilometers away and off the public transponder network, had opened fire. They fired massive concussive shells that impacted at the rear of the Corthan column. The explosions created panic and confusion, a wave of pressure that drove the Corthans forward, pushing them deeper and faster into the canyon, packing them in even tighter. They're all in, Commander, Rodriguez reported, her pulse hammering in her ears. Close the box, Captain, Thorne's voice was ice. And give them hell. Rodriguez took a deep breath. All units, execute. She depressed the detonator. The seismic charges at the canyon's entrance and exit exploded in a thunderous roar. Rock and earth heaved upwards. The cliff sides collapsed, sealing both ends of the pass under 100,000 tons of shattered rock. Thorne's trap snared the Corthan army. For a heartbeat, the Corthan column halted, a wave of confusion rippling through it. The ringing in Rodriguez's ear was the only sound. Fire, she commanded. The cliffs erupted. Heavy plasma cannons, mortars, and rail guns opened up. Green lances of energy and incandescent globes of plasma rained down on the packed-in Corthan forces, trapped and exposed. A planned execution in a box of their own making. Zara's avatar froze. Her usual stream of commentary cut short. The tactical map in the broadcast booth had become a nightmare of flashing red icons. In the space of 30 seconds, the AI designated nearly half the Corthan forces as neutralized. The casualty count was climbing so fast the broadcast AI could barely keep up. For the first time since the trial began, Zara fell silent. Her crystalline avatar went opaque, its internal light extinguished. Forlag's fungal form was, as always, immobile, but the pheromones emitted had shifted dramatically. The AI struggled to translate it, settling on a single flashing line of text. Data inconsistent, reevaluating. He ran the playback. The human retreat, the corrupted tactical tablet, the Nixian moving on the pass, the Corthans charging in after them, the artillery driving them forward, the canyon collapsing. The pieces clicked into place. The broadcast AI highlighted the human plan steps. It was a lure. Forlag's translated monotone stated, the words appearing at a deliberate pace on the screen. The tactical tablet was bait. The human retreat was an invitation. He brought up the Nixian and Corthan positions. They targeted both opponents simultaneously. The Nixians served as bait for the true target. Zara found her voice, a weak melodic whisper. The Corthans. They marched right into it. They marched right into the kill zone. A kill zone prepared days in advance. Forlag corrected. The human forces positioning, the seismic charges placement, the firing coordinates for their hidden artillery. This was an orchestration. The newcomers, as text scrolled, the words seeming to carry a tremendous weight, have set a flawless trap. The galaxy watched, and for the first time, a new variable entered their assessment of the upstarts from Earth. Fear. A cold stillness settled in Sela's core. The data feeds from the Spine Mountains had turned to chaotic noise. The Corthan casualty report screamed across the public broadcast. The map showed the sealed canyon. The area denial weapon was a lie, a ghost story. She had fallen for it, sending her forces racing toward a phantom, abandoning their positions, their coordination, their stealth. She had been the unwitting pawn that had lured the Corthan king into checkmate. The realization struck her like a synaptic shock. Disperse. She hissed into her command web. All hunter pack scatter. Regroup, but the web went dead, static. A crushing, overwhelming wave of electronic interference washed over her network. Her connection to her packs vanished, replaced by a roaring silence. A knot tightened in her gut as fragmented. Panicked reports tried to push through the jamming like screams through a thick wall. Everywhere the trees have eyes. No sound. Nyx vanished, just gone. Shadows hunting us. Something was hunting her forces, the galaxy's alpha predators. The decentralized structure that gave them their strength, small, independent packs relying on constant communication, had become their greatest vulnerability. They were blind, deaf, and alone. She forced her thoughts into a line, pushing down the rising static in her mind. The jamming signal was powerful, sophisticated. Where was it coming from? She cross-referenced the signal strength with her last known scout reports. The epicenter was Sector Gamma 7, the river, the place with the rudimentary human generators. The realization struck her. Their survey was a cover. Their generator malfunctions a fabrication. For days, under the cover of a strategically irrelevant sector, Thorne's engineers had laid a massive continent-spanning network of sensor and jamming nodes, an electronic web. She, who wove intricate traps, was a fly blundering into a web grander than her own. Silent, camouflage human drone hunters picked off her hunters one by one. Nature's order reversed. The drones isolated, terrorized, and herded them. But to where? The jamming flowed like a current, a river of static pushing her scattered, terrified forces in a specific direction. She plotted their panic flight paths. The current funneled them all southwest toward the last known position of Warlord Gorgon's command unit, which had escaped the canyon trap. Sela understood the humans' plan. "You're hurting them," Rodriguez said. The words were quiet, her voice holding a new note of awe. She stood beside Commander Thorne on the Endeavor's bridge, watching the main holographic plot. The gray Nyxian icons, once a dispersed network, were now a panic mob, fleeing from threats represented by tiny blue hunter icons. The Nyxian strength is their decentralized coordination, Thorne explained, his eyes fixed on the plot. They function like a pack of predators. They spread out, they communicate, they surround their prey. Take away their communication, and they cease to be a pack. They become what they truly are, a collection of frightened, isolated individuals. He pointed to the jamming network, now fully visible on the map as a shimmering blue web centered on the river. We took away their eyes and ears. Then we gave them something to be afraid of. Our drone hunters have a design centered on psychological impact over maximum lethality. Silent camouflage and relentless. The plot showed the Nyxian remnants' flight path. It was a ragged arrow pointing directly at a single heavily armored crimson icon, Warlord Gorgon's command unit, which had managed to claw its way out from the canyon's initial chaos. "You're doing more than just hunting them," Rodriguez breathed, the strategy's full scope locking into place. "You're pushing them right into Gorgon's lap. Gorgon has lost his army, his pride, and is looking for someone to blame," Thorne said, his voice level. "The Nyxians are outmaneuvered and now see traps in every shadow. Both species have a long history of mutual animosity. What do you think will happen when a group of panicked assassins stumbles into the camp of a wounded, enraged berserker in the middle of a communications blackout?" Rodriguez looked at the two sets of icons doomed to collide. "Two birds, one stone," she whispered. Thorne gave a small, almost imperceptible smile. An old piece of engineering. Rage burned in Warlord Gorgon's chest. While his own hide was pristine, his army lay broken, trapped, annihilated by upstarts who should have fallen before a single one of his warriors. He had escaped with a handful of his personal guard, his command center a wreck, his connection to his forces severed. And it was the Nyxians' fault. They lured him into that pass with their chase for the phantom weapon. They conspired with the humans. It was the only explanation his mind accepted. A guard pointed into the jungle. Warlord movement. Gorgon turned, his plasma rifle coming up, Figures were moving through the dense undergrowth. Gray, flowing shapes, Nixians, dozens of them. They moved openly, their movements frantic, terrified. He reacted instantly, seeing only betrayal in their approach. "Kill them!" he roared, unleashing a torrent of green plasma into the trees. "Avenge our warriors!" His guards opened fire. A storm of incandescent energy tearing through the jungle. From the trees, the Nixians, already on the edge of psychosis from the drone hunt, saw the Korthans. The plasma fire confirmed their panic. This was another trap. The humans' brutish horns sent to finish them. Weaver Sela, leading the desperate retreat, saw Gorgon's bellowing form and her composure shattered. "They are in league," she shrieked, her whispery voice aroar with terror. "Fight! Kill the brutes!" The two crippled forces, the lost remnants of galactic might on Xylos Prime, smashed into each other. A desperate, chaotic brawl fueled by paranoia and misplaced blame. The final violent spasm of two armies played out in an anonymous patch of jungle witnessed only by the silent machines that had engineered their demise. TDI construction drones had laid a temporary road of compacted earth reinforced with polymer mesh. The work had progressed almost silently over the past few days. It cut a clean, straight path through the jungle that the Korthans had spent days smashing through. Captain Rodriguez rode in the command seat of a light assault vehicle, leading the Terran Defense Initiative's main body, all 8,000 of them. The 2,000 missing from the transponder network were the engineers, logisticians, and support crews building this infrastructure, hidden from the Concordance drone's prying eyes. They marched out of the jungle and onto the open plains. The air here was clearer, the sky wider. In the distance, the objective, the massive derelict communications array, sat atop its plateau, waiting. Their path was clear. On their way, they passed the skirmish site. The wreckage was still smoking. Korthan and Nixian bodies lay intertwined, a grim monument to mutual destruction. Rodriguez's troops passed it with a shared focus, each soldier's attention on the road ahead, their expressions hidden behind their helmet visors. The swift, clear advance felt less like a military march and more like a parade. They reached the plateau's base and ascended the access road. The access road stood open and vacant. Rodriguez's company was the first to reach the summit. She stepped out of her vehicle and walked to the massive control platform center. The wind was the only sound. She keyed her comm, her voice broadcasting to Thorn, to her troops, and to the silent, watching galaxy. Objective secured. Her team set up defensive positions, a well-rehearsed dance of drill efficiency. But everyone knew it was a formality. The fight was already over. The 12-hour countdown clock appeared on the main broadcast screen. It was a concordance rule. To achieve victory, a force had to capture and hold the central objective for 12 standard hours. The clock ticked down, each second a testament to human ingenuity before a silent, watching galaxy. The human forces entrenched themselves on the plateau. Their interlocking fields of fire covered every approach. They dug deep positions. They prepared for a fight that never came. The casualty numbers appeared on the screen. Korthan Dominion, combat ineffective. Nixian Vale, combat ineffective. Terran Defense Initiative, minimal casualties. The subline for the human casualties read, primary causes, 2 sprained ankles non-combat related. 1 case of severe allergic reaction to native flora. Zara was making quiet, melodic noises, the crystalline equivalent of hyperventilation. Her avatar was a dim, opaque shape, trembling slightly. The broadcast drones focused on the human soldiers on the plateau. The galaxy watched them, expecting something, a victory roar, a triumphant speech. Instead, one group of soldiers cleaned their rifles. Another group was playing cards, a small, intricate game involving printed pieces of paper and cardboard. One soldier was patiently teaching another a complicated handshake that involved multiple steps and ended with an explosive fist bump. The galaxy watched in silence. Thorn's face appeared on the 2 surviving alien commanders' private comm screens. Warlord Gorgon, battered, sat amidst the wreckage of his command vehicle. Weaver Sela, her predatory poise replaced by a weary stillness, coiled in the shadows of a cave. They both expected mockery, gloating a victor's speech. Warlord Gorgon, Weaver. Thorne's voice was even, purely professional. This is Commander Thorne of the Terran Defense Initiative. The trial is functionally over. I am offering you terms. Gorgon grunted, expecting the worst. I will grant you and your surviving forces safe passage. Thorne continued. You may keep your personal sidearms as a sign of respect for your warrior traditions. My medical teams are prepared to offer assistance to your wounded. We will provide you with sustenance and shelter until the Concordance mediators arrive to transport you off-world. He paused. You fought according to your doctrines. Sela uncoiled slightly, a slow, uncomprehending motion. His tone was that of an officer addressing another. Gorgon was silent for a long moment. The fire in his chest had burned out, leaving only a hollow ache. Thorne had outthought, outmaneuvered, and utterly dismantled him. And now the architect of his demise was offering him dignity. We accept your terms, Gorgon grunted, the words heavy in his throat. Sela, her voice a soft, breathy whisper, stripped of its former arrogance, added, We accept. In the orbital broadcast booth, Zara's avatar flashed a brilliant, incredulous white. Forelags. Phenomenal output shifted to a new complex scent. After a moment, the AI offered a one-word translation. Respect. AI. Forelag's translated voice was quiet, almost trembling. Run a full strategic analysis of the Terran campaign. Correlate all known data points from their first landing to the present moment. Overlay Commander Thorne's probable command intentions based on the final outcome. Display it on the main screen. Acknowledge. The broadcast AI replied, cool and synthetic. The main screen shifted, displaying a god's eye view of the entire continent of Xylos Prime. The last 3 days replayed and fast-forwarded, but this time it was different. New data overlays appeared, revealing the campaign's hidden truth. The replay revealed the sloppy human fortifications for what they were, subtle pieces of terrain channeling designed to guide the Corthan advance toward the exact path Thorne wanted them to take. The pointless survey mission in Sector Gamma 7 lit up, revealing the slow, deliberate construction of the continent-spanning jamming and sensor network. A silent web laid, while everyone was watching the main stage. The replay showed the panic retreat from the command post, but with an overlay showing its timing coincided with the Nixian assassins' arrival. The hidden artillery batteries appeared on the map, their firing solutions pre-calculated for days, aimed at the Corthan column's rear, not its front, turning them from an army into a stampede. The tiny blue hunter drone icons moved with purpose, hurting the Nixians with Shepard's care rather than simply killing them, pushing them toward the final inevitable collision with the remnants of Gorgon's forces. It was one single, continuous, continent-spanning maneuver, a symphony of deception, logistics, and psychological warfare, composed from the first second and executed according to a strict timeline. The playback finished. The AI displayed its final analysis in stark, simple text. Analysis complete. Terran strategy displays a mastery of psychological, logistical, and doctrine-exploitive warfare that exceeds any precedent in Concordance records. The entire campaign was a single interlocking fate designed to force the two opposing forces into mutual annihilation. A new line appeared, and this one made 1,000 military commanders across the galaxy feel a chill crawl up their spines. Probability of Terran victory calculated retroactively from Hour 1. Inevitable given opponent responses. Standard Concordance strategic models cannot replicate this outcome. The Terran approach represents a strategic paradigm new to this system. Zara opened her mouth to speak. A stream of silent chimes escaped her vocalizer. Her crystalline form had turned a pale ash gray. Her usual stream of witty remarks and excited exclamations had ceased. Forelag, the stoic, analytical fungal colony, remained motionless. His translator was silent. For a full minute, the soft hum of life support systems was the only sound from the broadcast. The 12-hour clock hit 0. A soft chime announced the human victory. Then, Forelag's translator spoke. One soft, clear word that echoed across the entire galactic network. Incredible. The broadcast AI cut to a montage. A Corthan war room filled with hulking warriors, all staring at their screen in stunned silence. A Nixian weaving den, its occupants frozen, their scales a uniform shade of muted brown. A Zoltanian spore cluster, its collective consciousness pulsing with a slow, rhythmic light of awe. A bar on a bustling trade station. Patrons of a dozen species looking up at the broadcast, their drinks warming in their hands. Silence filled the viewing hubs, replacing the usual cacophony of cheers and curses. They stare at their screens, their expression a mixture of awe and a new cold apprehension. Casualty report, Commander. Thorne turned from a viewport in his ready room. Captain Rodriguez stood in the doorway, her helmet off, the small scar on her eyebrow stark against her tired but triumphant face. The trial was officially over. 2 sprained ankles and a nasty case of alien poison ivy, she said, a small, weary smile touching her lips. We'll live. Excellent work, Captain, Thorne said, a rare smile reaching his eyes. He gestured to the large screen in his room. The tactical map of Xylos Prime vanished, replaced by a map of ancient Earth centered on the Italian peninsula. The screen showed the animated legions of Rome crossing the Trebia River. They were so certain of their own strength, Thorne mused, his focus on the ancient display. So confident in their technology, their traditions, their raw power, they overlooked the real battlefield, their own minds. Their imagination was their critical vulnerability. He looked at Rodriguez. So what happens now, sir? Rodriguez asked. We pass a trial. Thorne looked back out the viewport at the green and blue curve of Xylos Prime below. Now, he murmured, we get a seat at the table, and we make sure they know we're bringing the entire library to the conversation. Thorne's console chimed a priority 1 message flagged with the Concordance High Council's official seal. He raised an eyebrow and opened it. The language was formal, yet the phrasing was deferential. The words masterful, paradigm-shifting, and revolutionary appeared multiple times. The message was an invitation offering full membership immediately, foregoing the customary century of observation with every attendant right and privilege. A final paragraph requested in the strongest possible terms that a Terran representative join the Concordance Strategic Committee effective immediately. They wanted to learn. Thorne showed the message to Rodriguez. She read it, her expression widening slightly with each sentence. When she finished, a broad grin illuminated her face. It was a grin of someone underestimated their entire life, who had just watched her side win the championship. The library, huh? She said, looking up at Thorne. I guess class is in session. Thorne gave a small, satisfied nod. He closed the message and, with a few keystrokes, brought up a new file on his screen. It was a massive, layered document already populated with gigabytes of data. The title read, Concordance Member Species, Military Doctrines and Historical Precedents. Rodriguez saw the title and shook her head, a small laugh escaping her. You're already starting on the next one. Thorne looked from the screen to his executive officer, his gaze intense. He had come here to win the trial, yes, but his true objective had always been to win the long, complex game that would follow. This was the opening gambit in a much longer contest. The library is open, he said, and we have a great deal to teach.